is much easier than what we've been doing day 1 and day 2. We're solving equations. For example 1, if we're going to solve x to the 1/3 power is equal to 2, well, we have to get rid of that 1/3 power first. And here's what a lot of students will say. Oh, multiply both sides by 3. You're on the right track. We need to use the reciprocal of 1/3, but 1/3 is a power. So what you want to do is you actually want to raise both sides to the 3rd power. So let's raise everything to the 3rd power. Since these are reciprocals, they cancel out. And 2 cubed is 8. Your answer is x equals 8. Isn't that nice? Easier? All right, example 2. When you're solving equations, think of doing your order of operations backwards. We need to solve for x. Can I add or subtract something away from x? No, not here. Can we multiply or divide something away from x? Yes, we can. Let's do that first. So let me divide away the 3. X to the 2/3 equals 9. Now we can take care of the exponent. I want to raise both sides by what power? 3/2. Good. Whatever the exponent is, to get rid of it, let's raise both sides by the reciprocal. These are going to cancel one another out, leaving us with x equals. Now, this is where knowing how to take something in exponential form and converting it to radical form helps you. 9 to the 3/2 power is the same thing as the square root of 9 cubed. Most of us know what the square root of 9 is. What is it? 3. Good. And if you don't know what 3 cubed is, that's okay. Use that 4-function calculator and do 3 times 3 times 3, and you're going to get your final answer of 27. X equals 27. Looking at example 3. Here we have the 4th root of x plus 1 is equal to 2. In order to eliminate, well, let's back it up a little bit. You've actually learned how to get rid of a square root in your mathematical careers. The way you get rid of a square root is you square it, because those are inverse of one another. So in order to get rid of a 4th root, what we're going to do is we're going to raise everything to the 4th power. The 4th power eliminates the 4th root, leaving us with x plus 1, and 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. Subtract over the 1, and you've got your answer. X equals 15. Now we have the cube root of 2y plus 7 equals 3. How do I get rid of a cube root? Cube it. Yeah. Whatever number's there, let's raise both sides by that number. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Y equals 10. Still feeling pretty good about this stuff? 1 or 2. We've been solving equations for a while, so this isn't too bad. All right, example 5. Let's see. Well, is there something we can add or subtract away from our x first? Yes, we can. Let's add over the 8. Now we can get rid of the square root by squaring both sides. And I bet you've got it from there. Add 2, divide by 3, x equals. You just had the wrong number. X equals 9. Yeah, Yes. But as always, thank you for playing. Talk to me after notes. You can help yourself to some chewing gum. All right. Example 6. What do I got to do with that 2 first? Divide it. How do we get rid of the cube root after that? Cube it. Let's move on. Y'all know how to do that one. Try example 8. Example 8. Get as far as you possibly can on your own. Okay. Most students are probably aware of the fact you got to add 1 first. Then hopefully you remembered in order to get rid of the 3/4 power, we then need to raise both sides by the reciprocal of that, which would be the 4/3 power. So now we have x plus 2 equals, what do I write here? 3. There goes 4. So x plus 2 equals, well, the cube root of 8 is 2. 2 to the 4th power is 16. Subtract over 2. We now have our final answer. X equals 14. Congratulations. Help yourself some chewing gum after notes. Don't talk. Okay. Example 9, very similar to what we just got finished doing. They're just using different numbers. Let's take a look at example 10. This is where things get a little different. Okay, to begin solving this problem, we have to get rid of that square root. So you want to square both sides. Once you square both sides, that's the current result. You now need to take the 2 parentheses that are on the left side of the equation, and you got to FOIL them, or you've got a box method, whatever, and then combine like terms. I'm going to do that for you quickly. X squared. If you FOIL and combine like terms, that's where we're currently at. Next. Looks like we have the makings of a trinomial here. I can tell because I have something that's being squared and then 2 variables that are just x and some constants. So what we want to do is set this equation equal to 0 by combining like terms. And now we have a trinomial that we can factor. Let's do it. A times C, that's negative 14. 2 times negative 7 is negative 14. And 2 minus 7 is negative 5. Since your leading coefficient is positive 1, go right to factored form. And then if you set both of these equal to 0 and solve, you're going to get -2. You're going to get +7. This problem is unlike any that we've done up to this point, not just because now we had something that's being factored, but now we have two answers. And it's possible for you to have two answers. It's possible for one of them to be negative. Now, truthfully, anytime you solve an equation, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to plug it back in the equation to see if it works. But we haven't up to this point because they've all worked. This is how the original problem was presented, right? This is the first one, I believe, that had an X over here and an X over there. This is where you want to check. And you really don't have to do much to check it. If I take 7 and plug it in here, 7 plus 1 is 8. A square root is always going to give you a positive number. Let's move on. I'm going to take -2 and plug it in. -2 plus 1 is -1. Will a square root ever give you a negative result? No. So our answer cannot be -2. Your only answer here is 7. That answer of -2, that's called an extraneous solution. You might want to remember that. Because on your next test, they might say, find the extraneous solution. If that's what they wanted you to do, your answer is going to be -2. But if they just wanted you to find the solution, then your answer is 7. 12, also different from anything that we've seen up to this point, but really it's pretty simple. What we need to do is we need to eliminate the square root there and there. So square both sides. Once you square both sides, the square root's gone, and now you're just combining like terms. This has become a two-step equation, which I think y'all can do. Submit your notes on my Canvas page. We're on Unit 9, Day 3. Get started on that delta math. If you need any help on that delta math, let me know.